The clock struck 11 p.m. as Sajid walked home, his heart pounding against his chest. The dim streetlights cast eerie shadows on the deserted road. He had been restless the entire day, knowing that the next morning he would stand in court as the key witness in a high-profile murder case. His testimony could change everything. He could send a powerful criminal behind bars. But deep down, he knew, people like him, people who carried the truth, often became targets. Sajid quickened his pace, glancing over his shoulder. Was it just paranoia, or was someone following him? He turned the corner, just a few steps away from his house, when a black SUV screeched to a halt beside him. The door flung open. Before he could react, strong arms grabbed him, dragging him inside. The last thing he saw was the streetlight flickering before darkness consumed him. The next morning, a courtroom in shock. The courtroom was packed with journalists, legal experts, and curious onlookers. This was the most awaited trial of the year. The accused, Zafar Malik, was a ruthless businessman known for his underground empire. He had power, influence, and a history of making problems disappear. This time, however, a young journalist had dared to expose his crimes. The journalist was brutally murdered, but Sajid, an eyewitness, had come forward. He had the power to put Zafar behind bars. But as the clock ticked closer to the hearing, whispers filled the courtroom. Sajid was missing. The judge frowned. "Where is the witness?" he asked. The prosecutor, shifting nervously, responded, "Your Honor, we are trying to locate him." Zafar, sitting confidently in the defendant's chair, smirked. His lawyer stood up. "Your Honor, without the key witness, this case has no standing. I request the court to dismiss the charges." Gasps filled the courtroom. The judge, however, wasn't convinced. He knew something was wrong. "The court will reconvene in 24 hours. If the witness is not found, we will proceed accordingly." Outside, reporters bombarded the authorities with questions. Is this a kidnapping? Did someone silence him? Is Sajid still alive? No one had the answers. The fight for truth miles away, Sajid regained consciousness in a dark room. His hands were tied, his mouth taped shut. The air smelled damp, and a single flickering bulb cast faint light. He struggled, his mind racing. Who had taken him? Was it Zafar's men? Would he ever make it out alive? The door creaked open, and a man walked in. His face was partially hidden, but his voice was clear. "You should have kept your mouth shut, Sajid." Sajid's heart sank. He recognized the voice. Inspector Akram, a high-ranking officer, a man who was supposed to uphold the law but was now working against it. "You think your testimony matters?" Akram scoffed. "Zafar owns half the system. If you speak, you die. If you stay quiet, you live." Sajid's eyes burned with rage. He had come too far to back down now. But how would he escape? An unexpected ally. Meanwhile in the city, a determined journalist, Aisha, wasn't buying the narrative. She had been following the case for months and had her doubts. Why did Sajid disappear the night before the hearing? Why was the police so slow in investigating? She started digging. Using her contacts, she traced Sajid's last known location. CCTV footage showed the black SUV, but the plates were missing. Frustrated but not defeated, she hacked into a private traffic database and cross-checked vehicles matching the description. And then she found it. The SUV was registered to none other than Inspector Akram. Her hands trembled as she made a call. "I know where they're keeping him." She reached out to Detective Rehan, one of the few honest officers left. "If we don't act now, he might not survive." Rehan didn't hesitate. "Send me the location." The Great Escape, back in the hideout, Sajid was losing hope. Hours had passed and exhaustion was taking over. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the room. Gunshots followed. His captors shouted in panic. Then the door burst open. It was Rehan and his team. "Sajid, we're here to get you out." Relief flooded over him. The officers quickly untied him. As they ran outside, they saw Inspector Akram trying to escape. Rehan didn't let that happen. Within moments, Akram was in handcuffs. Sajid, still catching his breath, asked, "The trial? Will I make it in time?" Rehan checked his watch. "You have 3 hours. Let's go." The courtroom showdown. The courtroom was tense. The judge was about to dismiss the case when suddenly the doors flew open. Sajid walked in, bruised but determined. Gasps filled the room. "I am here to testify," he declared. Zafar's smirk vanished. His lawyer tried to object, but the judge silenced him. "Proceed." With every word, Sajid painted a clear picture of the crime. He revealed how Zafar had ordered the journalist's murder, how Inspector Akram had tried to silence him, and how corruption had almost buried the truth. Then came the final blow. Aisha, the journalist, presented audio recordings of Zafar discussing the murder. Zafar's face turned pale. The evidence was undeniable. The judge slammed the gavel. "Zafar Malik, you are hereby sentenced to life in prison." Justice had won. The aftermath. A lesson in courage. As Sajid stepped out of the courtroom, reporters swarmed him. "How did you find the courage to stand up against such powerful people?" Sajid took a deep breath. "Because the truth matters. If we let fear control us, corruption will never end. Someone has to take a stand." Aisha smiled at him. "And you did." That day, the world saw that one person's courage can shake an empire of lies. Truth may be threatened, but it can never be destroyed. Moral of the story: the world needs people like Sajid, people who choose courage over fear. No matter how powerful the opposition, truth always finds a way to prevail. And sometimes all it takes is one brave voice to bring justice.